Hi there. I want to look at the basics of Blender. When you open Blender, it should look something like this. This is your viewport here with a cube in the middle of it. If you press down your middle mouse button, you should be able to orbit around this cube, which is to move your camera around the scene. Up here we have a thing called the gimbal, and as I orbit around, you can see it matches the movements. If we were to stick, I don't know, a spike through from this side to this side following this green line, that would be the y-axis, and if we sent it through this way, that would be the x-axis. So it's worth bearing in mind. To move this object, we can press the G key, G for grab. If I hold down G, then I can move my mouse around and the cube will follow. And if I left click, it puts it down in its position. Now I can also move it locked to one of these axes. So if I press G and then Y, G on the keyboard, then Y, then it moves locked to that axis. And the same for G, Z. Then we move it up and down the Z axis. Okay. Now we can also rotate this object. So if I press R and then move my mouse, it will then rotate. Now this little tiny dot in the middle of this object is the object's origin point. It's kind of by default the central point in that shape, and this is the point around which it will move or scale or rotate. Now if I do like we did grabbing, I can do rotate, and then I could type in an angle. So if I rotated it along the y-axis 45 degrees, so I would type RY 45. I've now rotated this to exactly 45 degrees. There's a tiny pop-up window here in which we can actually see that rotation. You see it's got rotation 45, and I can click on that and I can actually rotate it or even type in a number. So if I changed it to 90, then we've got a rotation of 90. So you can be accurate and precise, or just kind of freehand it. Right, the origin point. The distance between the cursor and the origin point has an effect on how sensitive these controls are. So if I move my cursor a long way away from the origin point and do rotate X, then as I move my cursor around, it moves quite slowly. If I have my cursor very close to the origin point and do X, then you see it kind of spins quite fast. So the position in relation to the origin point is quite important. So we've got grab and we've got rotate. G for grab, R for rotate. Now if I want to scale it, I can press S for scale. So I hit S and it will scale up and scale down, and all the same things apply. If I do scale and then Z, so do S for scale, Z for Z, Z for Z, then it will scale up and down on that axis. Now this allows me to make more interesting shapes. Right, if you hit 1, 3, 5 or 7 on the numeric keyboard, or the 10 key set on the right hand side of your keyboard, if you press 1, you get a front view. It says front orthographic. If you do 3, you get a right view, right orthographic. 5 is right, and 7 is top down. Also, if you hit the decimal point on your keyboard, it will lock the selected object kind of to the center of the screen. I'm zooming in and zooming out by scrolling the mouse wheel, pressing the mouse wheel to orbit again. Okay, we can add more objects. Objects will be positioned. Can you see there's a little target symbol here, a little circle? If I go add and then mesh and then UV sphere, you see that gets positioned on the 3D cursor, which is this red white circle, and then I can grab that. Let's add something else. Add mesh monkey. Add mesh monkey, and I can grab that, and I can rotate that, and I can S for scale that. Grab. Great, we'll leave it there. Plenty for the beginner. Thank you for watching.